Being on the autism spectrum, growing up and through school, I had no friends. I spent lunch breaks and recesses pacing the hallways, not knowing who to talk to, how to talk to them, or how to make a friend. I was completely alone in my own head. You walk into the cafeteria and see all these people sitting at all these tables, and I didn't know how to invite myself to a table or start talking to someone, so I'd take the sacked lunch that my mom had packed me and throw it away, and just spend the entire lunch break pacing the hallway, not knowing who to talk to, how to talk to them, or how to make a friend, right? No one invited me to their table. No one noticed. But my grandma had a subscription to Seattle Children's Theater. And when I was sitting in that dark audience watching a show, that was the one time I felt seen and silently heard, and that was the one time I felt understood. As an autistic person, I didn't really get that many social interactions. But when I got to watch a play, when I got to read a book, all of a sudden I got to experience all of these rich, nuanced social interactions in a safe way. I think that people with disabilities are some of the best creative problem solvers in the world, right? We have to be creative problem solvers every single day to help us navigate situations in this world that wasn't necessarily designed for us. I know what it's like to be really good at something and still be overlooked. Being in front of an audience of 500 people or 5,000 people is so easy for me because the roles are incredibly clear, logical, and laid out. I'm on stage, you're sitting in the seats watching me. I'm playing a character, and that's what you want, expect, and are paying for. The conversations are scripted and much better written than the ones in my real life. Right? On the street is where the conversations are scary. And this was so hard for me because I needed to find a way to scrape by and employ myself. So I turned to stilt walking, as you do, and street performing out on the streets as an autistic and legally blind single dad with full custody of my autistic kids to make ends meet until I hatched a plan to get to Broadway's biggest stage. But luckily, I loved street performing. As an autistic person, people often feel uncomfortable around me, right? Or they don't want to be my friend or know how to talk to me. But when I was street performing, every single person who saw me smiled. But I quickly realized I needed to dream bigger than the streets, so I turned to the only play on Broadway with an autistic leading character, Christopher Boone in The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime, which had never, by the way, up until that point, been played by an autistic actor before. When I was advocating for autistic actors to be auditioned for the role of Christopher, I was told so many times to my face that it would not be possible for an autistic actor like myself to play Christopher. Right? I was told that it was a big show with big words. Right? I was told so many times that the only reason no autistic actors had previously been cast to play the role was because there were no professional autistic actors. I was told that the word professional and the word inclusion couldn't coexist. But this is a lie, it's a myth, and it is damaging. When I finally got to play the leading role in Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime, the New York Times said, "Mr. Rowe plays Christopher with an agile grace, an impish humor, and a humanizing restraint." On Broadway, where the show was a Tony Award-winning hit, it ran 8 times a week with 2 actors alternating the demanding role of Christopher. Mr. Rowe, thought to be the first openly autistic actor to play the role, does all 9 shows a week by himself. And they weren't alone. The reviews kept coming. I am a better actor because of, and not in spite of, my autism. There is a real need for us to start seeing each other's differences as our strengths. So you may not have autism like me, or even know someone who has autism. But regardless, your differences are your strengths. If I hadn't been an autistic person who had to use scripting every single day and who had to street perform because no one else would hire me, I may have never become an actor. Your differences are your strengths, and society needs everything that makes you you. When you are able to give all of yourself to society or this school, you are giving the school such a huge gift. So what was so important about me getting to do Curious Incident? Right? I'll give you a hint. It is something that each and every one of you can succeed at and accomplish every day. I felt like I had an opportunity to contribute. I felt like I was being valued. We are the powerful ones. We have the power to make sure each and every one of our classmates feel valued every single day. There is a place for every single person in this world.